We're continuing to watch Irma's arrival here in the Naples area.
Tony Russell's seen here is just one of several news reporters that were sent down to Florida to cover Hurricane Irma. Despite the fact the former Ole Miss student works for a news station in Tulsa, it was his parent company, Scripps, that allowed him to cover the disaster.
Each station has identified, our management team has identified people that in the drop of a hat could jump to a major news event like a natural disaster. I was down in Naples, and I covered the storm from the very beginning to the very end.
Tony was once sitting right here in the Student Media Center putting together packages just a few short years ago. Although he's reporting on some of the biggest national stories now, he says the things he learned with NewsWatch still help him tremendously today.
I think, teamwork is the biggest thing. Relationships matter. I think I survived the Student Media Center because I surrounded myself with people that wanted to do what we all shared a common goal.
Student Media Center faculty members remember Russell fondly and are not surprised he found his way into the middle of the large storm.
That was kind of pure Tony when he was here. He was always just so excited about any kind of breaking news. He was one of those students we had to kind of make go home at night. He was so involved over here. So,
for NewsWatch Ole Miss, I'm Max McCann. As we enter the middle of November, the Ole Miss football program's fate has still not been decided by the NCAA. For some Ole Miss fans, this saga has been going on for so long that many forget where it started. It actually began over 5 years ago when the NCAA first showed up to campus to investigate the Ole Miss women's basketball program under then head coach Adrian Wiggins. Rumors began swirling around that time the NCAA was also investigating the football program about ACT test fraud that occurred under Houston Nutt back in 2010. Two of his staffers, Chris Vaughn and David Saunders, conspired to rig test scores for 3 potential recruits. To this day, it has been one of the more serious allegations levied against the program.
I have decided to attend the University of Ole Miss.
Fast forward a year to National Signing Day in 2013. Ole Miss landed its best recruiting class in history, landing the nation's #1 player in Robert Condici, including other highly touted players such as wideout Laquan Treadwell and offensive tackle Laramie Tunsil. This was a big day for Ole Miss, but many outsiders began accusing Ole Miss and new head coach Hugh Freeze of cheating to get those high-caliber prospects. These rampant accusations came flying with the NCAA already on campus. Hugh Freeze made matters worse with a tweet that was quickly taken down that read, "If you have facts about a violation, send it to compliance@olemiss.edu. If not, please do not slander these young men or insult their family." Many observers saw this tweet as a shot at NCAA investigators. 3 years would go by without any new developments in the NCAA case. During that time, Ole Miss turned that recruiting success from 2013 into wins on the field, culminating with a big Sugar Bowl win in January of 2016. Another big signing class was around the corner as well. However, a month after that Sugar Bowl win, Ole Miss announced it received its first notice of allegations from the NCAA that included 13 violations that occurred under both Hugh Freeze and Houston Nutt. As a whole, the allegations were nothing that would suggest the program was about to receive the hammer by the NCAA, and Ole Miss was still able to sign a big class that spring that included Shea Patterson and A.J. Brown. Many thought the NCAA issues would be over at that point, but that would not be the case.
With the 13th pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Laramie Tunsil, tackle, Ole Miss.
In what was supposed to be a big night for Ole Miss, as a bunch of their players were set to go in the first round of the NFL Draft, Laramie Tunsil's social media accounts were hacked, including messages that appeared to indicate Tunsil was receiving payments from Ole Miss coaches. In the press conference afterwards, Tunsil admitted the text messages were true.
So, was an exchange between you and your coach of money?
I had to say yeah.
Soon after, the NCAA would reopen the investigation into the Ole Miss football program. However, this incident involving Tunsil was never included in the second notice of allegations.
Earlier today, our outside legal counsel received the university's notice of allegations dealing with the football program.
A year later, in February of 2017, with the NCAA cloud firmly over the program, Ole Miss announced it received its second notice of allegations, with 21 new allegations that occurred exclusively under Hugh Freeze.
I am extremely disappointed to learn that any member of my staff violated any SEC or NCAA rules, and as the head coach, I regret those actions.
Ole Miss also announced it was self-imposing a bowl ban and would be forfeiting SEC postseason money along with scholarship reductions during the 2017 season. As more facts came out about the second notice of allegations, it was learned that many of the allegations in the second notice were from a current Mississippi State football player named Leo Lewis. Lewis alleged he received $10,000 from an Ole Miss booster, as well as free gear from an Ole Miss apparel store, Rebel Rags. Lewis's statements had some inconsistencies in them, however, so when the Committee on Infractions hearing occurred in September in Covington, Kentucky, Ole Miss fought most of those allegations.
So here's where we are today. 1 week from Thanksgiving and still no ruling from the NCAA. At this point, Ole Miss just needs to know what the sanctions are so they can move forward as a program. Max McCann, NewsWatch, Ole Miss.